And so instead of living off the love of God, we began to try to live off the love of the world. And we began to operate in exactly the opposite way to what God had intended. It's the same with the happiness thing. We feel that there should be more to life than this. I mean, it can't be work, work, work all the time. There must be something more to it. And of course, we would be utterly satisfied with work if we had this kind of remarkable relationship with our Father in heaven. We would be utterly satisfied to work like a slave night and day if we had that happiness with Him. But we lack that. So of course we say to ourselves, well, what? All right, maybe if I retire at 50, maybe if I retire, okay, maybe and then of course you find Florida, filled with all of us who have retired and thought heaven is waiting for us, and then it's agony, because it's just more of the same, only worse. And we get into that terrible frustration. And loved ones, that's what the fall is. See? When you talk about the fall of man, that's what the fall is. Eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is not, there's no apple mentioned anyway. I mean, it's the other people that mention the apple. The Bible doesn't mention the apple. But it's not just eating of the fruit of a tree. It's eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It's mankind saying, let's not trust our God. We know what is good and we know what is evil ourselves. Let's set up the things that are good. Now, it's good to get oranges of that tree because you can make juice with it. It's good to dam up that river at this time because this is flood time in the spring. And they began to list a whole lot of laws. This is good to do, this is evil to do. This is good to do, this is evil to do. If you think positively, it'll work this way. If you think negatively, it'll work that way. We began to depend on our own knowledge of right and wrong in order to make the world supply us with what we thought was all that God supplied us with. Security and significance and happiness. And of course that wasn't it at all. What we need is not those things. What we need is love. Those are only results of love. What we need desperately is love. That's why Howard Hughes dies in the luxury penthouse of a hotel with Kleenex stuck on his fingers, emaciated, dying of malnutrition. One of the richest men on earth. Because finally, it's not riches he needed, and it's not riches or security we need. It's love. And it's not even our wives' love or our mother's love. It's the love of our Maker. You know you were made for that. There's something inside you lets you know you were made for that. And what we have done, of course, is to begin to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. To live by that knowledge. In other words, to live by knowledge instead of by friendship with God. That's it. And so what has happened is the whole system has backed up. And that's what the fall is. We're living off the world instead of God.